I think you all know by now that I'm a big fan of these pattern maker vices. I think they are one of probably the best options out there for the price, typically 150 bucks or less. You know, yes, they're a little big, yes, they're a little heavy, but I think for a lot of people they fit a very good price point and ability. But they do come with one big detriment, which is the fact that they're really not meant for what we're doing, which is trying to, maneuver a gun in here and tighten it down and whatnot. And if you have something like, let's say a rifle stock, and you go to put it in and it slips, you could end up, denting or scratching, your gun on here. And so, that's sort of been where you've seen maybe I've put a towel in here and stuff like that. Well, somebody reached out to me not long ago and said, hey, I do a little bit of fabrication work. I'm thinking about building something. Can I send you one? And I said, sure. And here's what showed up in the mail the other day. Again, full disclosure, I did not pay for this. He asked me to help test it out for him. And I wanted to show you exactly what it does. And I think it solves, what is probably the biggest, I don't want to say problem, but, if you had to pick something apart on this press, aside from its size and weight, it would be the fact that there's no easy way to maneuver a gun in here. So let me show you what he's done. So on the back, these wood blocks are held in with 4 wood screws. They're not complicated. And what he's done is made a plate that is going to go between the cast iron and the wood. And here's all you have to do. You just unscrew these 4. And this will work. This happens to be from Woodcrafters. Grizzly makes them. There's, half a dozen different brands that make these. Now, he doesn't guarantee, because, you're dealing with, let's be honest, Chinese mass manufacturing. There's always a chance that these holes won't line up perfectly. But what he's done is he's made it so that it fits right here. And he gives you instructions on how to, possibly either enlarge these holes, or on rare occasion, you may have to change the hole pattern on the wood. I don't think that is the case for most people, but just be aware that it is something that could potentially happen. And so all you do is just line up this block. You're going to stick your screws through, make sure it lines up. So in this particular case, you can see everything's lining up just fine. You can see my screws are coming through. So we're just going to stick this on here and get it sort of anchored in. And it's just a little awkward because I'm trying not to block the camera here. So we're going to put that in. We're just going to leave them a little loose till we get all 4 in. All right, and then here's this one. And the last one. And that is all there is to installing this thing. And now we can tighten all these up. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can and there you go. So now you have a little bit of a brace. So now you've got this little bracket. Your gun stock can sit there nicely. If you need to tighten it up, you can let a lot of the weight of your gun rest on that brace. And now you can tighten things up, and it's nice and easy to use. Something else where this comes in handy is if you need to work on a barrel, for instance. So let me grab a barrel. So this just happens to be in its wrapping, but again, I can let it sit here. I can just kind of balance it, get my weight set, and there you go. And honestly, anything else you do, whether it's gunsmithing or not, could probably be benefited by this. I'll put information. I'm going to put information down below with how to contact him for these. They just ship out of Washington. Super nice guy, and I don't remember the exact price point that he finished on these with, but I remember they were really cheap for what they were. Like, I kept thinking he probably should have been charging more for them, but it's just a nice little angle piece with these rubber stoppers. Everything lines up great. I have to say that it's a very simple solution to what I think is probably, like I said, really the only major deficit for these woodworking vices. Not only that, like, he did a really nice job. It's all scalloped. It's just really clean. So Again, I don't really have any skin in the game other than he asked me to test them out and give some feedback. I think he did a great job with it. I know there's going to be people who say, well, I wish it came out a little further, a little bit less. He kind of had to look at, what's the real need and what really needs to be balanced. And honestly, if it came out any further, it doesn't really solve the problem any better, because looking at it when we did, it actually created more problems if you tried to put something smaller in here. And for this size, you can get a stock, and the majority of your stock is going to be resting on this anyway. And the idea is just to take pressure off of it so that you can manipulate it where you want and then get everything tightened down. And in that sense, it solves the problem. So if it was also any longer, this goes, if you get tighter, it technically fits under. But if it were to be any bigger, potentially you might get in the way of the jaws if you had something smaller too. So I think the size he picked is really great. And it's actually pretty much in line with my Howard's Vise, which has those rubber stops on it. It's almost the same dimensions in terms of how far out from the edge of the block it is and stuff. So again, I think he hit it perfectly here. And if you want one, just look in the description below. There'll be a link to how you can contact him to order one if that's something you're interested in. So there you go. Hope that helps you guys out there. Have a great day. We'll talk later.